Okay, today let's go ahead and get started with actually shading our hand. The hand is going to be the first thing that I'm going to have you shade, and you need a few things. First of all, you are going to need your drawing pencils, and you need to make a choice about which pencil is going to be the best one for you. And the best one for me is not going to be the best one for you. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to pick a light pencil. For those of you who are really heavy-handed, I would choose a very, very light pencil. Those of you who everything tends to be super light, you have problems shading dark, I would go with the HB, maybe a few of you a 2B, but that I would say that's pretty dark for most of you. So let's go ahead with, I'm going to probably choose like a 2H for this one. I like a nice 2H's. A little lighter than a regular pencil, but not too light. All right, so here is my, let me zoom out just a little bit for you. Oh, zoom in, zoom out. So here's my picture that I have. What I have here on my picture is I have a hand. I've drawn my hand, and it's trying to flip over a page in a book, and along with that there's a pair of scissors that have cut out a picture in the book, along with here's the little picture that it cut out. I do have a pencil that is drawing, and that pencil line has turned into and comes back off the page, back on the page, kind of wraps around. This is the string that's kind of tying some of the different things together around my picture. So this is my drawing. I'm pretty happy with my drawing so far. Some things that I did with my drawing is I did go back over, I drew everything really, really sketchy, so I wanted to go back over and make sure you could see all the pencil lines. Now with that, I want to make sure that nobody's outlining. We don't want to outline everything. That looks a little too heavy. But I have it right there in the middle. I had to tape my paper down. Now what I'm going to do is something else that you're going to be shading with is you're going to be shading with a Kleenex. The Kleenex that you're going to be using, it's important that it's a regular Kleenex, not one with lotion in it. But what this is going to help you do is to help blend things together. If you've ever used your finger to blend things, it's kind of the same, but this the Kleenex will work a little bit softer and usually a little bit better. So something else you're going to need along with your drawing pencils is you should all have a kneaded eraser in with your pencil packets too. So let's go ahead and get started. To begin with, what we're going to be looking at is each one of you, as you have your hands, we're going to have all of our lighting in the exact same space. So what I'm going to show you is kind of like an extreme example. So what I have here is, this is my hand, and with my hand I have an extra light on. I have my cell phone on top of it, so you can see that there's some lighting here. So what we're going to kind of look at is all of your hands, the lights are on, and we're going to be using the lights as your light source in the room. So the top of your hands are going, the very, very top of your hand, so along in here, it is going to be the lightest, and as it moves around to the edges, there's a little bit more darkness to it, a little bit of extra shading. Now, my hand is light, but it's not going to be white. I also don't want to shade it to where it's too dark to represent my hand anymore either. So let me go ahead and show you light but not white and where you should add some of the shading. So on my hand here, I'm going to go ahead, and the easiest place to know where to start putting some of the shading is you're going to start shading on most of your edges. So around the edges, I'm going to go ahead and shade some of this around here. Something else that I'm going to be shading is some of the wrinkles. You're going to want your wrinkles a little bit darker. So I'm shading my edges. Let's go ahead and I'll see if I can get one finger done, and then I can blend it together and show you what it's going to look like. So on my hand I have the edges, and I don't want just a heavier black outline. Don't go around outlining your hands. Outlining is not the same as shading. Those are kind of different. So I have my shading done. I'm going to come in here into my wrinkles and give it a little bit more shading. I'm going to bring that over just a little bit more. On this one I'm going to do the same, where I have some of the shading around my edges. And then in here on the wrinkles just a little bit more. Notice my wrinkles. My wrinkles, I didn't draw a line that connects all the way across. They kind of have a broken movement to them, kind of a broken line. If you draw straight across, it kind of doesn't make it look as lifelike, and it makes it look like almost too heavy, like you outlined your fingers. Next, what you're going to be doing is, what that should be doing is it should have the light source that's on the top of the hand, and as you move around to the edges, it should look like it curves a little bit more towards the edges and it's a little further away from you. Now let's go ahead and move on to our next step, which I'm going to be taking my Kleenex, and you can't take your Kleenex and just rub all over it. That's going to smear the pencil all over the place. Instead, what you're going to be doing is fold your Kleenex until you can get to kind of a sharp tip. Well, you're not going to have a sharp tip, but you're going to have a little bit of a harder spot on your Kleenex. Now what I'm going to do is make sure that you're staying inside the lines. So I'm going to take this and kind of go over where I shaded. So I'm going to, instead of shading the middle of my finger, which usually is going to get that way too dark looking, instead what I'm going to do is kind of blend that over. And what you'll notice is that your Kleenex is going to start looking dirty, and that's okay. Your Kleenex is picking up some of the graphite and moving it around your paper, and that's what you're wanting. So you're going to take this and kind of move that around so that your finger is now shaded. So you took what you had on the edges, kind of moved it around to the inside, and you can see this one finger is darker than the rest, and that's what we're wanting. Go ahead and give that a try.